Today, we're jumping straight into a feeling that is, well, I think it's absolutely
That's
universal.
for sure.
Hitting that wall, that plateau when you're learning a new language, you feel like you're putting in all this work, but you're just stuck.
Completely stuck. And that feeling, that stagnation, it's more than just frustrating. It's where so many people just quit.
Right.
So today, our source material is this short. And on the surface, very simple conversation between two friends, Mark and Sarah.
And Sarah is right there at that wall. She's frustrated, discouraged.
And Mark comes in as this sort of supportive guide. And our mission today is to really unpack this dialogue word by word.
Yeah, we're not just summarizing it. We're going to pull out the key vocabulary, the psychological tactic.
The things that actually work. Because Mark's approach turns that frustration into actual forward momentum.
It's basically a blueprint, isn't it? For helping someone or even helping yourself get unstuck.
It is. It's a fantastic model. It shows you how to diagnose the feeling, validate it, and then pivot to a solution that isn't overwhelming.
Okay, so let's dive in. Let's unpack this starting right at the beginning with Sarah's emotional honesty. So Mark kicks it off super casually. He says, "Hi, Sarah. How's it going?"
Yeah, and that phrase itself, how's it going? It's so common, but it's important. It's not how are you, which can get you that automatic, fine, thanks.
Right. It's a little more open. It invites a real answer.
And boy, does she give one. She doesn't just say fine. She's honest.
She says, "I'm okay, just a little frustrated." And that word frustrated, that's really the anchor for this whole thing, isn't it?
It is, because frustration, I mean, we all think we know what it means, but it's a specific mix of emotions. It's sadness, but it's also a little bit of anger.
The anger that comes from trying to do something and just failing. Like the source used the example of a pen that won't work or a jar you can't open.
Exactly. But for a language learner, it's so much deeper. It's cognitive. The failure is happening inside your own head.
Yeah. You know what you want to say. The idea is there, but something just breaks on the way to your mouth.
That's the perfect way to put it. That gap between what you know and what you can actually produce in that moment, that's the real source of the pain.
And Sarah says exactly that. Her core problem is, I feel like I'm not making any progress. Let's talk about that word, progress.
Well, progress is the reward, it's the thing that keeps you going, the feeling that you're moving forward, getting better.
Like climbing a mountain. If you stop climbing, you're not making progress.
And Sarah feels like she's completely stopped. She's probably measuring her current self against some perfect, fluent version of herself in the future.
Instead of looking back and seeing how far she's actually come from, say, 6 months ago.
Right, and that feeling of being stuck is so real. It's this phenomenon that researchers sometimes call fossilization.
Fossilization.
Yeah, it's when you keep making the same mistake over and over again until it feels like it's just fossilized.
Yeah.
It's part of how you speak, and you can't seem to fix it.
And that would absolutely feel like no progress.
It's the engine of discouragement, which is the next word she uses. She says, it's discouraging.
So how is that different from frustration?
I think frustration is the in-the-moment feeling. It's that flash of, ugh, I can't do this. Discouragement is the long-term result. It's what happens after you hit that wall again and again.
It takes your courage away. Makes you feel like quitting.
Exactly. It shifts your thinking from, I can't do this right now, to the much more dangerous, I will never be able to do this.
And the trigger is that moment she describes. I try to speak, but the words just don't come out right.
It's the most vulnerable moment for a learner. That disconnect is it's brutal, and it creates this negative cycle,
Frustration leads to a feeling of no progress.
which then feeds the discouragement.
Okay, so that's the cycle. Now, how does Mark come in and break it?
Well, his first move is just so simple and so important. He just asks, oh, what's wrong?
He gives her space to explain. He doesn't jump in with solutions. He just listens.
He shows he cares. But then, after she explains, he delivers. I think it's the most powerful tool for this situation.
Normalization.
Normalization. He says, that's totally normal.
Let's just sit with that for a second. Totally normal. The word totally. It means completely, 100%.
Right. He's not just saying, oh, that happens. He's saying, this is a standard, expected part of the journey. He's telling her that her struggle isn't a personal failure.
And that must just, lift such a weight, because when you're struggling, you feel so alone. You think you're the only one who can't get it.
Exactly. Shame lives in that isolation. Mark just shatters the isolation with those three words. He reframes it from, "What's wrong with me?" to, "This is what happens when a human learns a language."
The stress level in her brain must just plummet in that instant.
It has to. But he can't
Yeah.
stop there, right? If he only says, "That's normal," she's still stuck. She's
Yeah.
just normally stuck.
Right, he has to pivot to action, which he does. He says, I understand that feeling, but don't give up.
And that phrase, "don't give up," it only works because he validated her feelings first.
Oh, yeah. If he had started with that, it wouldn't have sounded so dismissive.
Like, just try harder.
Yeah.
But because he showed he understood, it lands as genuine encouragement.
But then, okay, this is where I might push back a bit. He follows it up with, it just takes practice.
Hmm?
And just practice can be the most annoying advice in the world. Sarah's already practicing. That's why she's frustrated.
You are 100% right. On its own, that phrase is, it's pretty useless. But here, Mark is using it to set the stage for a different kind of practice.
What, like deliberate practice?
Exactly. He's not talking about just reading a textbook for hours.
Mm.
He's about to propose something targeted, something focused. The idea is that practice is the only way forward, but it has to be the right kind.
And he's also managing her expectations, right? He's implicitly saying that progress from practice is slow.
It's so slow, agonizingly slow sometimes. But it's still movement. Even a tiny step up the mountain is still a step up.
The only way to guarantee you'll fail is to stop practicing.
That's the core message. And Mark knows that telling her isn't enough. He has to show her.
Which is what makes him a superstar friend, as the sources put it. He goes from giving advice to taking action. He says, hey, do you want to practice with me?
That's the moment the whole dynamic shifts. He stops being an advisor and becomes a partner.
He's offering his own time. But even more important than the offer itself is the condition he puts on it.
Yes. This is maybe the most critical part of the whole conversation. He says, no pressure at all.
And no pressure isn't just about being nice. There's real science behind why that works, right?
Absolutely. We're talking about the effective filter hypothesis.
Okay, break that down for us, the effective filter.
So imagine there's a metaphorical filter or a shield in your brain. When you're anxious or stressed or feeling down on yourself like Sarah is, that filter goes up.
And when the filter is up,
It blocks language from getting in. Even if you hear something you should be able to understand, the anxiety prevents your brain from processing it properly. High pressure means a high filter.
so Mark saying no pressure is a deliberate strategy to lower that filter.
Precisely. He's creating a safe space. He's saying, it's okay to make mistakes here. There's no test. There's no judgment. That safety is the ideal condition for your brain to actually learn.
It lets her experiment without that fear of failure that caused the frustration in the first place.
It's the difference between performing on a stage and just jamming with a friend in the living room.
And he even has a specific fun idea for their jam session.
Yeah, he suggests watching a movie with English subtitles, which is such a brilliant suggestion.
Why? What makes it so effective?
Because it's multimodal. You're getting the auditory input, you're hearing natural flowing English, but you also have the visual input of the subtitles as a safety net.
The subtitles guarantee you can understand it, even if they're talking too fast.
And you have the context from the movie itself, the visuals, the story. It all helps the language stick. It's the perfect low-pressure, high-input activity.
And you can see it works immediately from Sarah's reaction. She
Okay.
says, that actually sounds fun, not like studying.
That phrase, sounds fun, it's so important. The activity is now framed as a reward, not a chore. And the part about not like studying is exactly the point.
He successfully disguised the practice as a social event.
He did.
Yeah.
And once a learner sees practice as something enjoyable, half the battle is already won. The motivation comes naturally.
So then they just nail down the logistics.
Yep, simple and direct. Are you free this Friday night?
And she says, that would be great. You can hear the relief and excitement.
And he closes it with, perfect. It's a plan. And just like that, they've moved from an emotional crisis to a concrete, Positive action step. The roadblock is gone.
But the conversation isn't quite over. Mark delivers one last line that might be the most important one of all.
I agree.
He says, "You are doing better than you think."
And this is aimed right at the heart of the learner's self-criticism. It's a direct counterattack on something called confirmation bias.
Which is basically our tendency to only notice things that prove what we already believe.
Exactly. Sarah believes she's failing, so she only remembers the times she messed up. She completely forgets or dismisses all the conversations she had that went perfectly fine.
She's trapped in this loop where she's only looking for her mistakes.
And that internal voice can be so destructive. Mark, as an outside observer, provides the perspective she can't see herself. He sees the real progress she's made.
And hearing that from someone else, someone you trust, it just hits different than trying to tell yourself, you know?
It breaks the cycle of doubt. It gives her evidence that her negative feelings might not be the whole truth. It gives her hope.
And her final line proves it. Thanks, Mark. I feel better already.
That word, already, it's so telling.
Yeah, it means so soon. The relief was immediate. It wasn't about learning more vocabulary. The change happened just by talking it through and making a plan.
It just shows that sometimes the most important part of learning isn't the grammar or the words. It's managing your own emotional state.
So let's synthesize this. If we pull it all together, Mark's approach gives us a kind of checklist for when you hit that plateau.
It does. I think lesson number 1 is psychological. You have to accept that feeling frustrated is
Totally normal.
totally normal. Expect it. It's part of the process, not a sign that you're failing.
Okay, what's number 2?
Redesign your practice. Move away from things that feel like a chore. Find a way to make it fun, to integrate it into your life. Movies, music, games, whatever works for you.
And 3, don't do it alone. Find a friend, a language partner, someone who creates that no pressure zone.
Yes. That shared experience is so critical for keeping that affective filter low so your brain can actually do its job.
And 4th, fight that inner critic. Find someone who can give you an honest outside perspective.
Or even just keep a log. Write down one thing you can do today that you couldn't do 3 months ago. Give yourself concrete evidence of your own progress.
And finally, remember that progress is slow.
Slow progress is still progress.
Yeah.
Small, consistent effort is what gets you over the mountain, not one giant heroic push.
This is all so powerful because it frames learning not just as an intellectual task, but as an emotional one.
Right. And on those bad days, when you really do feel like giving up, you can just remember Mark's advice.
Don't give up. And also,
You are doing better than you think.
so a final thought for you, the listener. Mark made practice fun and safe for Sarah. What's one thing in your life right now, maybe it's your commute, maybe it's when you're making coffee, that you could turn into a small, no-pressure language practice opportunity this week?
It doesn't have to be a big study session. Just one small moment of listening or reading with no fear of getting it wrong.
What's that one tiny step you can take that you can point to and say, see, that was progress?
Because every little bit, especially when it's done in that positive, low-pressure way, it all adds up. It really is progress. Keep practicing.